The Legend of the Zombie Rave, a doomcore techno horror story written by an AI. Dive into the darkness of underground hardcore techno with The Legend of the Zombie Rave. This Halloween, the music takes on a supernatural twist, blurring the lines between the living and the dead. Join us for a journey that combines eerie rituals, supernatural forces, and the indomitable spirit of the underground. It's a tale of music, horror, and the thrill of the unknown. Dance to the rhythm of your own heartbeat in this special Halloween short story of the Hardcore Overdogs. The Legend of the Zombie Rave. Part 1, Warehouse of Shadows. The moon hung low in the cloudy night sky, casting an eerie pallor over the desolate industrial district. Among the decaying factories and forgotten buildings, an abandoned warehouse stood like a relic of a bygone era, its windows shattered and walls marked with graffiti. Inside, it had once been a hub of productivity, but now it lay in desolation. The air was thick with the scent of dampness and neglect as a group of hardcore techno enthusiasts gathered at the entrance. Among them was Max, a lanky figure with wild hair and a penchant for seeking out the most obscure locations for their parties. He was the event organizer, the man responsible for turning the forsaken warehouse into a haven for Halloween revelers. As the attendees arrived, a motley crew of ravers, goths, and techno devotees, they marveled at the transformation of the space. Black lights illuminated fluorescent graffiti, casting neon shadows that danced to the rhythm of the music. The DJ booth, stationed on an elevated platform at the center, was an altar dedicated to doomcore, a genre known for its heavy, relentless beats and dark, hypnotic melodies. The anticipation grew palpable as the DJ, known as Voidbreaker, emerged from the shadows, his face obscured by a mask adorned with sinister symbols. He cranked up the music, a fusion of eerie melodies and thundering bass lines that seemed to resonate with the very soul of the warehouse. As the first track reverberated through the broken windows and graffiti-covered walls, a strange and undeniable energy coursed through the crowd. The attendees felt an exhilaration that was unlike any other party they had attended. The music was not just in the background, it was an electrifying force that enveloped them. Little did they know that this Halloween rave would become something more than just a party. It would become a night they would never forget, a night that would challenge their perception of reality and blur the line between the living and the dead. Part 2, Doom Dance Floor. As the music pulsated through the abandoned warehouse, the crowd found themselves caught in a trance-like state. They moved to the rhythm with a devotion that was almost hypnotic. The doomcore beats seemed to reach deep into their souls, tapping into an otherworldly energy. In the dimly lit corners of the warehouse, a few attendees exchanged bewildered glances. The eerie atmosphere was heightened as they noticed strange occurrences. Flickering lights cast eerie, irregular shadows on the walls. Cold drafts whispered through the broken windows, chilling the dancers to the bone. Max, the event organizer, surveyed the scene. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. People around him danced with a fervor that bordered on obsession. Their eyes had a glassy, distant look as if they were possessed by the very music. At the DJ booth, Voidbreaker, the enigmatic figure behind the mask, continued to spin tracks that held the crowd in an unrelenting grip. The melodies seemed to reverberate with an uncanny power, evoking emotions they had never experienced before. In one corner, a couple locked in a passionate embrace suddenly broke apart, their faces twisted in a mixture of fear and ecstasy. They stared at each other with hollow, vacant eyes. It was as if the music had stolen their souls, leaving only empty shells behind. More partygoers exhibited bizarre behavior. Some started to move in slow, exaggerated motions, as if trapped in a dream. Others became lost in their own minds, mouthing words that no one else could hear. Max's unease grew, and he decided to approach Voidbreaker, who was lost in his own world behind the decks. He tapped the DJ on the shoulder, but Voidbreaker simply turned his head slightly and continued to manipulate the music. "Hey, something's not right," Max shouted over the pounding beats. "We need to stop the music." Voidbreaker's mask concealed any reaction, but he did nothing to acknowledge Max's concern. The DJ's hands moved methodically, queuing up the next track, and the music grew even more intense. The partygoers seemed oblivious to Max's alarm, lost in a world where the lines between reality and illusion blurred. Max knew he had to make a decision, one that would either save them from whatever the music was doing to them or plunge them deeper into the enigmatic trance. Part 3, The Book of Secrets. Max's heart raced as he watched the partygoers succumb to the mesmerizing power of the doomcore music. It was as though they were trapped in a surreal dimension, and the music was their only guide. Max knew he had to take action. He approached the DJ booth once more, this time more insistent. "Voidbreaker, we need to stop this. Something's happening to the people here. Look at them." Voidbreaker finally acknowledged him, turning his masked face slightly. With a distorted, echoing voice, he responded, "This is the power of the music, Max. It's what we've all been searching for." Max couldn't understand Voidbreaker's cryptic words. He knew that hardcore techno was all about pushing boundaries, but this was different. This was beyond the usual euphoria of the scene. Determined to get to the bottom of this, Max began to move through the crowd, trying to get the attention of some of the partygoers. He tapped one on the shoulder and asked, "Are you okay?" The young woman turned to him, her eyes vacant and her movements slow. She whispered, almost trance-like, "The music, it's inside me. I'm one with the beats." Max's concern deepened. He had to find answers. He reached out to a group of ravers huddled together. "Do you guys know what's happening? This isn't normal." One of them, a guy with a glow stick necklace, looked at Max with a strange smile. "This is the most intense party ever, man. We're part of something bigger." As Max continued to investigate, he noticed an old, weathered book on a nearby crate. It was bound in cracked leather and seemed out of place amidst the neon colors and graffiti. He picked it up and dusted it off, revealing strange symbols and esoteric writings on its pages. The book felt cold to the touch, and Max's fingers tingled as he opened it. The pages contained incantations, drawings of eerie rituals, and references to the supernatural. It was a book of occult knowledge, and it had a chapter that discussed the merging of music, the spirit world, and human consciousness. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fall into place. Max realized that the music, combined with the warehouse's history and the occult knowledge, had awakened something otherworldly. The partygoers were not just dancing, they were conduits for an ancient energy. As Max pondered his next move, the music in the warehouse reached a crescendo. The walls seemed to vibrate, and the temperature dropped. It was clear that they were now in the eye of a musical storm, and they had to decide whether to confront the supernatural forces head-on or find a way to escape. Part 4, Counterpoint of Chaos. Max stood in the heart of the warehouse, the ancient occult book still clutched in his hand. The music had reached a relentless crescendo, the beats pounding in time with the rapid rhythm of his heart. He was now certain that they were caught in a powerful and supernatural force that was spiraling out of control. Voidbreaker, still ensconced in the DJ booth, had an unsettling air of calm about him. He manipulated the music as if he were conducting a dark symphony, his masked face an enigma. Max turned to the remaining partygoers, his voice rising above the sonic storm. "We have to stop the music. We have to break this trance." He held up the occult book as if it held the answers. The ravers who could still focus their attention on him regarded him with vacant expressions. They seemed oblivious to the chaos that was unfolding around them. Max felt an overwhelming sense of isolation. He knew he couldn't do this alone. As the music intensified, the warehouse itself seemed to respond. Shadows moved in unnatural ways, and a ghostly fog began to seep from the cracked concrete floor. The walls appeared to ripple, and the temperature continued to plummet. Max's options were limited. He couldn't unplug the equipment himself, and Voidbreaker showed no signs of relenting. Max realized that there was only one course of action. He needed to disrupt the energy that was feeding the supernatural force. Ripping out a page from the occult book, he began to read one of the incantations backward. The incantation's syllables merged with the music, forming a dissonant counterpoint. It created a wave of discordant energy that rippled through the crowd. Some of the trance-like partygoers blinked as if waking from a dream. The vacant expressions in their eyes started to clear, and they looked around in confusion. The music's grip on them weakened, but it fought back, sending shivers through their spines. Max's voice grew stronger, and he began to lead a chant, encouraging others to join in. Slowly, more of the ravers started to chant, their voices drowning out the music's power. Voidbreaker, still in the DJ booth, watched in silence. His masked face betrayed no emotion. It was clear that he was the key to ending this. Max's challenge was to reach the man behind the mask and break his connection to the supernatural forces. With a final burst of determination, Max approached the DJ booth. He shouted to Voidbreaker, "You have to stop this. It's too dangerous." Voidbreaker turned to face Max, and his eyes, hidden behind the mask, seemed to pierce through Max's very soul. In that moment, Max understood that the DJ wasn't just playing music, he was a conduit, a vessel for something ancient and powerful. The music wavered, and Voidbreaker slowly removed the mask, revealing a face that bore the weight of centuries. Max and the ravers held their breath as they gazed upon the true source of the music's supernatural energy. Voidbreaker's face was a canvas of ancient wisdom and indescribable sorrow. As the music's intensity ebbed and flowed, the ravers and Max watched in silence, waiting for an explanation. "You've awakened the spirit of this place," Voidbreaker finally spoke, his voice no longer distorted by the mask. "The energy of centuries has been dormant, waiting for the perfect blend of music and ritual to stir it." Max's heart sank as he realized the gravity of their situation. "What do we do now?" The DJ gazed at the abandoned warehouse, the energy pulsating around them. "We have two choices. We can allow this spirit to consume us, becoming one with the music, or we can release it." A sense of unity enveloped the ravers as they contemplated their options. They had danced to the brink of an extraordinary experience, but it was time to make a collective decision. With newfound determination, Max and the partygoers decided to release the spirit. Voidbreaker led the way, guiding the group in a chant that reverberated with the frequencies of the music. As their voices reached a crescendo, the ancient energy began to disperse, retreating into the depths of the warehouse. The temperature rose, and the supernatural fog dissipated. The walls stopped their eerie movements, and the flickering lights steadied. The trance-like state that had gripped the partygoers slowly lifted, leaving them exhausted but free. Voidbreaker, his role as a vessel for the ancient spirit complete, removed himself from the DJ booth. He nodded to Max and the others, a sense of relief in his eyes. The moment was a profound one, a testament to the power of music, ritual, and the human spirit. As dawn broke, the ravers and Max left the warehouse, forever changed by their Halloween night experience. They had danced with the spirits of the past and emerged with a newfound appreciation for the boundaries of reality. The abandoned warehouse, once haunted by the echoes of the past, stood in silence, its secrets buried once more. The zombie rave had come to a close, leaving behind a tale that would become a legend in the hardcore techno scene. And so ends the legend of the zombie rave.
Credits. The text was entirely written by ChatGPT. The accompanying images were generated using Leonardo.ai. The introduction was also written by ChatGPT.